Almost every day, we hear how well the economy is doing and how this is the time to invest. But how can the ordinary Filipino take advantage of these things? Right now, only 1 out of 4 Filipinos save, and of those, only 2 out of 3 put their savings in a bank. And until you have your money in a bank, being able to invest in any financial instrument is just a dream. So today, we'll talk about banking and how it works to help you protect your money. I'm Edric Mendoza, and this is On the Money. Joining us on the show today is Mr. Ignacio Bunye, a member of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and author of Central Banking for Every Juan and Maria. Welcome to the show, Toting.
Thank you very much, Edric, for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So let's get started. First, why don't you tell me, what was the inspiration behind the title of this book?
Well, it used to be Central Banking for Doctors.
Okay.
Because my wife is a doctor.
Right.
And I wrote my articles, which came out in my weekly columns in the Bulletin and Tempo, with my wife in mind.
Right.
So I wrote.
To help explain things to her, right?
So I wrote in such a way that the banking concepts would be understood by the ordinary Filipino. And I got very positive feedback. And eventually I got this request from Secretary Bert Romulo, who has been following my column regularly, and said, why don't you compile this into a book?
Right.
Okay? So I did. And when we went to the printer, when they saw the title Central Banking for Doctors, they said, why not change it to make it more inclusive? So I changed it to Central Banking for Everyone.
I like that.
And then somebody said, but you're excluding the girls. So we decided to eventually entitle it Central Banking for Everyone and Maria.
I like it. It's very catchy. It's perfect for the show. It's exactly what we're trying to do here. So let's try and go into the content of this book. What would you say are the most important things that people should therefore understand about banking?
First of all, since I'm from the central bank, I would like the ordinary people to understand what the central bank is doing.
Sure.
I focus on the core functions of the Bangko Sentral. Its mandate, that is maintain price stability. Number 2, to maintain a strong financial system through effective supervision and regulation of banks. And also to maintain an efficient payment and settlement system. I also wrote about the flagship advocacy of the Bangko Sentral, which is financial education.
Wonderful.
And consumer protection.
Wonderful. Yeah, we've guested several other members of the BSP in that area now. Can you expound on those 3 core functions just briefly?
Maintaining price stability simply means keeping the rate low and stable.
Sure.
Inflation rate, as you very well know.
Inflation
yes,
rate.
Inflation rate is the rate at which the prices of a basket of goods go up over a certain period. Now, it's very important to maintain a slow and steady inflation rate. Now, let me give you an example of a hyperinflation situation. Perhaps you have heard from your father or from your lolos during the time of the Japanese, when the Japanese money was practically worth nothing. When you had to use a bag of Japanese money to be able to buy a kilo of rice.
I do remember stories like that. Yeah, okay.
And more lately, we have heard stories about Argentina. You buy coffee in the morning, and then you buy coffee in the evening. The price of coffee in the evening was much more than the price of coffee in the morning.
All right.
That's hyperinflation.
Right, and we don't like that, obviously.
We don't like that.
Right.
So that is the number one objective of the BSP.
Keep it down.
To keep it down, so that we keep the value of your money. Sure. When you hold the 1,000 peso bill, the BSP wants to assure you that your 1,000 peso bill will be able to buy 1,000 pesos worth of goods and services, and not 100.
Sure.
When you hold the 100 peso bill, it will buy you approximately 100 pesos.
Wonderful.
And not less.
Right. Great. So that's the first core function.
That's the first.
The second.
The second function of the second mandate of BSP is to to make sure that the financial system is strong. No? Financial system is made up of banks, non-banks performing quasi-banking functions, and similar institutions. So the BSP tries to perform this function through effective supervision and regulation of these supervised institutions.
Okay.
By maintaining an efficient payment and settlement system, we mean that the BSP tries to encourage all the participants in the financial system to be members of PhilPass.
PhilPass.
PhilPass is a real-time system whereby banks who are members of PhilPass can just instruct BSP to debit or credit their accounts, and they're able to pay their obligations with other banks in real time.
I see. And this is not mandatory. You're saying you have been encouraging them.
Well, the fact is almost all.
Oh, good.
Almost all of the big banks are now members of PhilPass, and there are other industry associations like finance groups, etc., who have joined PhilPass, and that's very encouraging.
Okay, so those would be the core functions. I want to now bring that down to how currently they're saying that our economy is so good. We have hit investment grade, etc. Is it really being felt at the dinner table, though, for every Juan and Maria in the term you used?
Let me just review the numbers.
Sure.
No? The numbers are very good. We have a high growth. We have low inflation. We have a robust external position. We have gross international reserves. That's at an all-time high. And recently we had the credit upgrade.
Right.
But again, the question is, will this affect the ordinary Juan and Maria?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's a good start. It's a good start. And because of these advantages, because of these positives, we are now in a better position to invest in the things that really count.
Okay.
Invest in infrastructure.
For example, yeah, infrastructure. Okay.
Invest in industries that will provide for more employment opportunities for the poor. We can invest in human capital. We can provide more budget for education, health, and welfare. But at the end of the day, I think to be inclusive, we have to be able to encourage savings, and that forms a good portion of my book.
Of your book, encouraging people to save.
Encouraging people to save. But then we have to convert these savers into bank savers.
Why?
Because many of these, again, as you said, 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3, yes.
Don't save in banks, and they prefer to keep their banks in piggy banks, in cookie jars, under the mattresses. So these are not being used for productive purposes. By encouraging them to save this in banks, sabi nga, nakatulong ka na, or kumita ka na ng interest, makakatulong ka pa sa paglago ng ating ekonomiya. Plus, there's the safety factor. I think all things considered, it's safer to keep your money in the bank than keeping your money under the mattress.
The rates, though, in banks right now for savings are still fairly low.
That's right, but I guess as you go along, you are introduced to other bank products.
I see.
But first things first, you have to save. You have to choose banks that are safe, and then you make baby steps. You are introduced to this product, that product.
Right.
It all depends on the resources available and your risk appetite. And then eventually from bank products, probably you can expand. You can go to equities, you can go to real estate investments.
Right, other investments.
But again, first things first. You have to turn.
So the question I think every Juan and Maria might want to ask is, what about areas where there are no banks available? You know, the rural areas, I mean, with so many different islands in our country. So what are your thoughts on that?
The BSP is making sure that the environment is there now. We encourage the regular banks to have other banking offices. We also encourage other types of bank products like mobile money and similar products which take advantage of existing technologies.
I see. So I don't have to go to a physical institution. I can go through online channels.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, excellent. So, in essence, the main message of this book is, as you mentioned, save and get to understand how the central bank works with you. Any other messages contained here that you'd like to be able to share to our viewers?
Well, I also included articles there on what it's really like working with Bangko Sentral.
Good things, right?
That Bangko Sentral actually is made up of very professional people. If you don't really know them, they might look aloof, but they're very responsive to consumer needs. They're responsive to the needs of the man on the street, to the needs of every Juan and Maria. And we make sure that the proper environment is there so that the economy will grow and in the process everybody will profit.
Wonderful. We're going to actually have more questions from the Juan and Marias in this next part. So in the meantime, we're going to have to pause for a short break. Stay tuned on The Money. We'll be right back.